It's right here. And look, I got to be honest. I really struggle to know what is so bad about this movie, or because when it comes down to movie reviews, I just want to really. I couldn't help but always have this in mind that knowing that I have a different perspective and eye when I look at movies. I'm more appreciative, and especially, I always see myself as living in these, worlds that I watch, and pretty much, you know, I have a different eye of actually looking at it. Because when I look at Scrooge, I look at, I don't watch, I did not grow up watching a lot of Scrooge remakes. And as I look at the other reviews, I, I pretty much understand that there is a lot of, readaptions of Scrooge, and not just the Mickey Mouse one, which I grew up with Donald Duck, but there was a bunch of ones from Muppets, from, other live actions. And yeah, this is just another one, I guess, in their book. But this is from my perspective, so I shouldn't worry about anyone else. It's just that when it comes down to movies, I don't want to be the guy. I really don't want to be the guy that is like, look at everything and everything's so good. Not every movie's perfect, and pretty much I just can't help myself but look at the visuals and be like, yeah, this is not bad. This is not bad. I feel, whatever I spend my money on certain movies and stuff like that, it's, not this one. I watched this on Netflix, but whenever I spend my money on, watching movies, like I always find what's enjoyable about it instead of what's bad. It's like going to a city, like, like for example, New York. A lot of people, there's a lot of bad things about New York, but holy crap, there's a lot of good things about New York City, and understanding the different boroughs and different, cafes that you go to, different restaurants. The list goes on. It goes on for days, but that's how I see true movies. I see it through different, like a different place, and you're just trying to find what's so good about it. And some people just probably didn't have a good experience, and I understand that, because when I heard some reviews are like, yeah, this movie is just, yeah, blah, it's so blam and blam, and I'm just like, what are you saying? Like, the movie's good, okay? It's just like, I don't understand what's so bad about it. But to me, it wasn't. And pretty much, if you watch it, you might, you know, you might be, agreeing with me saying that, yeah, it's actually good, Vince. You're right. It is good. Because, yeah, it is. The visuals, the music, I can see how other people are like, man, I'm annoyed by the musicals. Well, for me, I like the musicals. I guarantee you, I'm not surprised if it had a musical. I kind of see it as, like a, from my perspective of musicals, this Christmas movie right here has to have one. Some people say like it could have gone off with just two. For me, all the musicals in this one, listen, the only bad one is the first one. The first musical felt off, it felt forced, and pretty much I don't understand with the same position that this person that keeps, like, I forget his name, but you know, his uncle is Scrooge. That's the best I can give you, and I don't remember the character at all. Even though he's sort of like, one of the people that really cared about Scrooge, and you see the others care about him as well. And of course, if the story goes, if you know about Scrooge, you know that, Ebenezer, okay, I can't say his name, first name, F that, nah, I'm not gonna say it, okay, it's not even British, okay, this takes place in the UK, that's not a British name, okay, I can't say that, but, the, Scrooge is set, in a colder area in Europe, of course, UK. But it's set in a way where it's a lesson about how you should do more about your life instead of wasting it and just being grumpy all the time. This sort of showed me that, and it sort of made me, understand that through my ways of, like, how I live my life sometimes. So, life can be hard. Lives be hard. That's the same way that Scrooge says when he actually, or the person that you used to work for, when it comes down to actually getting money from other people, a lot of times I feel bad for actually being like, yeah, you know what, life, who no one cares, no one cares. I do what I want. I do what I want, and I understand that, there's certain ways to look at it, and because when I think about the lesson of the movie, it always has that lesson that is so true in life, that sometimes there's certain there's going to be a time in your life where you're going to wish you had more time. And that's always sad to know, especially if you get older. Man, for me, I feel like I'm getting older. I feel like I wish I had some time. I wish I had more time left because, time can be short sometimes and it's sad. It's a reality. And I really do understand that through the Scrooge. And it feels like for so much of this movie, the reason why I love it because of that lesson, because it made me understand about it and the reality and how it really implicates. And of course, I haven't watched Scrooge in a while. The visuals and the musical and everything was so good. Understanding, especially the three ghosts, the candled ghost, the drag Santa, as I call him. That's the character of the best character of all time. The freaking drag Santa. Okay, if Santa was gay, I know it's someone else. I know it's not Santa. It could be Zeus. I don't freaking know. But man, this the second ghost, like one of my favorites, and of course the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper was very impressive. I gotta say, because the Grim Reaper, being the final ghost, did not say anything, which is the right way to do it. It's the right way to actually, and it's of course the right applications. But when you really think about, things getting serious and getting to that moment where, that's what life feels like when it's too late. Like, you gotta really do something right now. You don't have much time left and you can only speak to yourself. That's just deep. I just get some deep knowledge from certain small things that are probably not there, but they are. And I just like to think about them. I'm just like, yo, I'm dropping bombs right now. But, I really like, all the characters surrounding this. I feel like the guy, well, I don't know his name. He had like, I'm trying my best not to use race for some of this, but you know what? I have to. I'm sorry. I never liked to be that guy like, oh, the black guy. Listen, I got what you want me to say, okay? The black guy, okay? With the hat and the stick and the purple suit dancing on Ebenezer's or Scrooge's grave, even though thinks that, he's celebrating for him, but really though they're dancing on his grave. Just knowing how they really go into that. Even though it's like, isn't this supposed to be a kids movie? But then again, that's like I thought they were gonna actually make a meme of the dancing grave from from TikTok. You know what I mean. I'm not gonna look it up, but man, it always strikes me like how that could have been much more of a celebration than it is from everyone else's perspective of seeing who Scrooge is, because Scrooge is a terrible person when we first meet him. Guarantee anybody collecting debt, yes, in sort of that field, they could be a terrible person. I think there's somewhere, and listen, I'm sorry if I'm going to be, oh, here it goes, Christian mode, pastor mode, baby. Look, in the Bible, I believe there was, I could be wrong, okay, I could be wrong. But from what I heard, there is something that God said about debt collectors and saying that they, are sinners as well. People that collect debt, aka probably tax collectors. I believe IRS. I could be wrong. Okay, listen, don't put me in. Listen, this is what I heard in the Bible. This is not from me. Okay, I heard it from somewhere. I'm not saying that. Oh, anybody collecting debt, the government is they all go to jail. No, calm down. Calm down. Okay, listen. I am at that field where I'm just like, I'm trying not to say things that would get me in trouble. I just heard it from the Bible. I heard it from somewhere. I heard it from God. And it really showed, I think it showed in the Bible. I think there was like a live action. There was a bunch of live actions that really portrays the Bible. And one of them actually involved debt collectors, people that, they collect coins from. The debt collectors being the guys that, you have to pay for this amount. And also, I believe also the ones, not only debt collectors, but the ones that actually people are praying, but you have to pay a certain, to pray on the rule, like on the monument or something like that. Like pray for your idols, but you gotta actually spend like I think Japan did that, right? Japan had something like that. But you know what I mean? It's like debt collectors and kind of like really picture Scrooge as that way. I mean, you can be a good debt collector. I'm not saying all of them are bad. I just heard bit it from the Bible. I'm not saying it's true. Okay, the same thing is like, like for example, if like birds, like, oh, if you take off if you wear slippers, birds are likely to eat you alive. I heard it from somewhere. I'm not saying it's actually true. Okay, if I take off my shoes or something like that, birds are gonna be like looking at my feet like, yeah, lunch, lunch, and just eating me apart. Okay, I'm not saying like that, but you know, it's kind of like Scrooge is not only how he is, but we see this true many type of stories. If you know Scrooge, you know it. I feel like I don't need to explain it, but there's a good amount of you that did not grow up with Scrooge, and I have to be the one to be like, oh, fine, okay. It's just a guy that is, just grumpy, not happy about Christmas, and learning the ways of actually, especially, I believe his house is haunted. Can I just say that? His house is haunted. There, you're welcome. And within this haunted house, he actually saw the ghost of Christmas, I believe. Locked up in chains and boxes, and pretty much has a beard. AKA is the person that I used to work with. It has like, I look like a freaking fever dream. And there were so many parts in this movie where I'm like, gosh, is this from Epic Games? Like everything just looks very video game-ish, especially especially the can when the candle girl was introduced. That whole scene reminded me of Marvel Snap, the newest game, Marvel Snap. And also there was other scenes that really remind me of Fortnite. I'm sorry, it reminded me of Fortnite. There's Fortnite characters surrounding this freaking and especially the Grim Reaper freaking reminds me of Diablo. Okay? Diablo or Bloodborne. Okay? I can go for days about how this, 3D animation movie reminds me of that. But I digress. The thing is that one of this, aspects of this movie that really nailed so perfectly, having the visuals and having everything else, it speaks to me in how, like, in this generation that, being nice is still an importance. It's still something that is a value of what you should be and understanding where your life is. I think there was a different way of saying how, from this movie perspective of like its lessons, because you gotta live your life. There's times in my life where I'm like, man, I feel like I wasted my life. I feel like I wasted everything. I don't know what I'm doing with my life. Okay, sometimes I just want to go to this place, I want to go to that, but money is like, and that's the thing. Money is sort of the root of the evil within this movie. There is the defeatance of greed here, because greed is sort of its evil and it creates character that you don't want. But we see that through Scrooge. We see that through the person that he worked with. We see that through his life, especially when that one scene where he, being introduced to Scrooge's wife. And by the way, everyone else in this freaking movie is attractive. Even Scrooge. I'm like, damn, Scrooge, like, what are you shining and all? Like, there's no rashes. You don't, like, you could be 30 if you want. Okay, Scrooge. But everyone just like the whole movie itself. And listen, some people have an issue of that. Like, oh, everyone's so attractive. I like it. It makes it easier to freaking watch. I can tell you that much. I'm sorry. Listen, the only time it would be ruined is showing my face. I'm kidding. Okay, even Santa is freaking slaying. Look at the glamorous Santa over there. Okay, the second ghost. My gosh. But this whole movie, like, centering around Scrooge and that scene of like just the people that pass and this and that. There was deep and dark aspects of this movie that adults are gonna be like, damn, and kids gonna be like, oh, it, I really do dig, and I feel like I'm just talking out of my ass here. This movie is good. It's good. I don't see anything bad about it. But I'm that guy. I'm that guy that really appreciates movie, really appreciates storytelling, appreciates visuals. Because a lot of times I always like to be grateful when I do see these movies. Because these are the moments where I'm looking at them and I'm like inspired. I mean, it just draws something to me. And, that's why I'm just not that good. I always say this. I'm not that good at reviewing movies because every time I watch a movie, it's just like I'm in a different world. It takes me by the hand and just, shows me a different area. Places that are not that perfect, but man, they're good. I would live in them. I don't know. But the magic of this movie is that, man, it had that warm feeling when I watch it. It really did, okay? And I wouldn't say, like, when it comes to Christmas movies from Netflix, nothing's going to beat that movie Klaus. because man, that movie was good. That was a good movie, like a few years ago, and I still remember the magic and the emotion of that. I wouldn't say Scrooge did that for me. Scrooge did not have that impact, but I have to say it's not that bad. It's really good. It's good enough to actually sort of be in that same ballpark. And that's my review, that's my thoughts, and that's my deep speaking, and that's me actually just, talking in circles basically about this movie. You're welcome. But if you enjoy me talking about circles and want to help out the channel, please donate, be a good Samaritan, just like some of these people, especially just, future Scrooge. Be a good Samaritan and actually not end up like Scrooge by donating to the channel on my PayPal. And also subscribe to the channel. I'm out. One love.